Welcome to Community Closeups, a webinar series highlighting the unique and talented individuals in our community. David, welcome back. We've hit December. How are
We
you?
have. Good, doing good. Post Ignite, post most of all the speaking events and the sessions and the conferences. We're in the middle of European SharePoint Conference week, so I think everybody's looking forward to a little downtime before the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm exhausted. Ignite was so tiring. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was jam-packed, a lot of stuff. But
Yeah.
we had a couple first-timers. I know I was a first-timer, and speaking of which, our guest today was a first-timer and a speaker, April Dunnam, Business Applications VP. Thank you for being on the show, April.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, excellent. So why don't we start out by having you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, just where you're from, family, and a little bit of that information.
Yeah, so I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, so kind of right in the middle of the U.S. here. I'm kind of born and raised here, never left. Married, have two stepkids. All my family here in Tulsa. Got an older brother and older sister. So, yep.
Born and raised, yep.
Yep.
And you've lived there the whole time, never lived anywhere else?
Never. Nope.
So you went to school there too?
Yep. Yeah, went to school here, went to college here even. I didn't even go away for college. So, yeah.
Where did you go to college at?
Northeastern State University. So it was actually in the town where I live. It's just a suburb of Tulsa, Broken Arrow. They had just opened when I was graduating, and I was like the first female in the IT program there. First and only.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Is it-
pretty cool.
That's a relatively small school, or?
Yeah, it's a regional school, so we don't have a big football team or anything like that. But
What'd you get your degree in?
management information systems.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I actually doubled in that in marketing. So.
And do you apply the marketing stuff much?
Well, obviously having my own business, it really helps to be able to know how to, get sales and then market, what I'm doing. So yeah, it's actually helped me quite a bit.
Sure. So how'd you get into your own business? What was the steps like? How many jobs have you had?
Actually, I'd only had, kind of two, full-time real IT jobs before I started going in with my own business. I was working at a telecom company and, be a SharePoint dev there back in, I don't know, 2008, something like that. And someone came in helping us on a project, and he had his own little small business, and he kind of asked, would you like, to help part-time maybe, any extra work, I was still paying off student loans, so any extra money I could get, I jumped right on that. So I just kind of started helping him out a little bit here and there, and then eventually just realized I liked the consulting stuff more better than what I was doing. So he asked if I wanted to join on full-time, and I've been taking it off ever since.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. Very cool.
So having been born and raised in Tulsa, has there been any itch to try to live somewhere else or experience a new locale from being, home?
Yeah, I mean, I always joke if I get rich, I'm gonna get like a beach house somewhere. I mean, Tulsa's good though, I mean, it's a nice, friendly city. There's a lot of stuff to do, and can't beat the cost of living here, either. So, and all my family's here. So yeah, I mean, I would like to get some kind of like a vacation house somewhere though to at least go to.
Yeah. Well, and you're kind of centrally located, right? And you do a lot of traveling to various events and stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's really
totally.
convenient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When I lived in Austin, that was nice. It was like, oh, we're about 2.5 hours from anywhere in the country. So it's
Yeah.
not like traveling cross country, which is exhausting now.
Yeah, exactly.
So beach house or vacation home, I think you had mentioned like one of your favorite places in San Diego. Would that be like the place to go for you
Oh
to
yeah.
get the new vacation home?
Probably,
What do
because
you,
weather is a huge key for me. Like I want it to, 70s is like perfect for me. Florida is nice, but it's just too humid sometimes, and
yeah.
you have to worry about hurricanes. So I don't know. From places I've been, San Diego can't really beat that, if you ask me.
Yeah, so you'll have no tornadoes because I mean, I'm
Yeah.
assuming you occasionally have those in Oklahoma, right?
Oh yeah, I've
Which would
been
have
in a few.
Yeah.
Well, we have earthquakes here too, so I'm used to that. All the
How
oil and
terrifying
fracking. Yeah. It's
How terrifying is tornadoes knowing that,
I
they could come any
well,
day?
I think you're used to it if you live here, So I mean, I'm more terrified of like a hurricane or something like that than I am a tornado. You just kind of get used to it. Like we have a running joke, tornadoes coming, let's go outside and watch, here in Oklahoma. So yeah, it's not too bad.
It seems like at least there's
shelters.
Yeah, I would say at least there's like a degree of warning with tornadoes, right? I mean,
yeah, right. I mean, you have
usually I would
notice
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So earthquakes, like, forget it. Once like when we had some earlier this year and it was a good consecutive couple of them, everybody's just on edge perpetually at that point. Then we forget and it happens again.
Yep.
That or living in places that are just like forest fire ridden, and yet people still like living there. I don't know.
Yeah. There's always something. If it's not a fire, it's a drought. If it's not a drought, it's an earthquake.
Yeah. So talk about the Sooner State a bit. What's it like for people who've never been, or for our international folks?
Gosh, I mean, there's a lot of rich cultural history. So Native American history, obviously. All of the 5 civilized tribes came here. So if you're into that kind of piece of history, it's really great place to visit. Lots of oil and gas business here, so that's always been really big. Have just a lot of good little unique. Everyone's really friendly. That's like one thing I really like about it. Kind of typical, I guess, of the South in general, right? Just like really friendly people here, and easygoing. Down to earth. So it's a nice.
Unless you are a visitor from Texas, but otherwise, they're really nice in Oklahoma.
No, I think even then, as long as you don't, give us the hook 'em horn sign.
So you can walk around wearing burnt orange but yelling boomer, and then people will just be confused, right? I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
There you go. So with the native cultures there, I assume you have some native food as well. Do you guys have Indian tacos and things like that?
Yeah. So that's kind of my favorite. I have some Cherokee, some ancestry, and the Indian tacos are my favorite. We got some, places like that here to get some, food trucks and stuff that make great Indian tacos.
Yep.
So for our viewers, what is an Indian taco?
Good... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Indian taco is basically everything that would be on a traditional taco, except it's on Indian fry bread, which was, back then when they had their rations, they only had certain things that they could use. And so they made fry bread out of it. And I think it's made from like, I don't know, lard and some kind of flour and stuff like that. So it's really good. And they use that fry bread for everything from like putting the taco stuff on it, like the meat and the cheese and everything. And then also as a dessert, they'll sprinkle honey on it and like cinnamon or some kind of, preserves on it for a dessert too.
And you guys are big on barbecue. You have chicken fried steak.
Yeah, chicken fried steak is like the official meal, I think, here in Oklahoma. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We always talk about food on the show.
Yeah, we do. It always seems. I was just gonna say, so do you do a lot of cooking at all?
I wish. I'm not a good cook. I can bake pretty well. Make some good cookies and cakes, but cooking not so much.
Well, baking is harder, right? They always say cooking is an art, baking is a science. So
I get maybe that's why science. That's more my. I'm not an artist, but science I've always liked. So maybe that makes sense now.
So we were talking about where you live, but we asked you what's a mythical place you would live in, and you mentioned Asgard, and I thought that was really funny because I told David before the show, said I hope she's seen Thor Ragnarok because Asgard doesn't exist anymore.
Pre that, right? In the good old days of Asgard before it was destroyed. Oh no, there's New Asgard though. So I would just have moved to New Asgard.
And that's on the beach, right? So you'd have that going for you.
That's an improvement.
I'll take either one.
Now, would you take? Here's the key. Would you take Asgard without Thor?
Probably not. I mean, that's mainly the reason I went. His Thor is my main attraction for wanting to live there. If that's the case, if he's not there, I'll just live in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and have English chocolate.
I'm pretty sure Chris Hemsworth is everyone's main attraction. So
sure.
Now Willy Wonka, that's another interesting one too, because we've got the old school with Gene Wilder and we've got the new one with Johnny Depp. Like, do you have which one would you want to be in? Because it's very different, I think, right?
Well, I watched the Johnny Depp one. I don't think I ever watched the original one.
You've never seen the original Willy Wonka? Oh man.
Probably gonna get like crap for that, but no, I haven't seen the original.
That's your homework tonight. You
Yeah,
have to watch the original one.
yeah. We'll have to check it out.
This is Bo telling another person to watch an old movie. I feel like I'm
It
confused
is
now.
true. It is true. Well, us young folk, we have a hard time keeping up with all the classics.
I
That's
know,
true.
right? I mean, I have to deal with
Yes.
my husband telling me all these old movies. Like he's made me watch Top Gun, and
Oh,
I don't
classic.
know.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, you just said old and Top Gun.
All right,
Yeah.
old is like Wizard of Oz. Top Gun is
Okay.
like it's relatively recent
Top Gun is
in the cinema
classic. We'll
world.
call it classic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Classic movies such as Top Gun. Got it.
You've seen though Princess Bride. We've talked about that before, right? On the show, but
I
you've seen that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not till recently though either. Yeah.
It's David's favorite movie.
Yeah,
Oh.
one of by far, yeah. But yeah, so you should definitely go watch the original Willy Wonka. Not quite as edgy, and the personalities between Johnny Depp and Gene Wilder are very, very different. I think there's more one-liners for Johnny Depp's character, like the mumbler scene and stuff like that. I say that to my kids all the time because it just feels like that's them.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, definitely watch it. So speaking of movies as well, you had listed A League of Their Own, excuse me, A League of
Yeah.
Their Own as your favorite movie. So what is it about that movie that you love that would definitely classify as your favorite movie?
I played a little softball when I was a kid, and so that's when it was out, probably when I was in like elementary school or something. So, I mean, I kind of gravitated to it because of that, and just like the whole story, about these women, it's kind of like a women empowerment, kind of movie almost, and I just like Tom Hanks in it is great. There's no crying in baseball. So many great, one-liners in it too, and it's just I don't know, I just always loved it. I mean, I was a Rockford Peach for Halloween, a few years
Oh,
ago. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of my favorites too. The music to it as well, and just the
Yeah.
nostalgia. I think it takes you back to a
Yeah.
simpler time in the country.
There were some big names involved in that, like
Madonna's in it.
Madonna, yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Madonna, Gina
Gina Davis.
Davis, and
Yep.
Yeah.
it's a great
Yeah.
great movie.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's definitely one that if it's on TV, I'll watch it for sure every time it's on.
Well, and so we always do talk about cars. Bo is a much bigger car guy than I, but you actually listed two cars as your favorite or dream car. One was a practical Tesla Model X, which may have changed now with the Tesla truck, right? That's so
Yeah,
silly.
it's
Cybertruck.
changed. And now it's a Cybertruck. I think I'm gonna have to go all in on the Cybertruck
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that was an interesting debut of that truck. Did you
Well, yeah,
watch
I mean,
it?
hopefully before they release it, they fix the windows on it. So
Yeah, they were talking about why they broke, but they didn't make it. Like he said, the windows broke because they had hit the truck with the sledgehammer before, and so it broke the glass. But they hit the front door. They had never hit the back side of the window, yet the rear window also broke. So it's really confusing. I
yeah,
think it was just busted.
yeah,
But yeah,
something
that was
fishy.
a
Yeah.
very interesting futuristic truck. I don't know if I'm on board yet.
I just like it.
It-
It's just like it's so different. That's what's appealing to me. I'm not a huge car person, so I'll just go for the weird, interesting thing like that.
Yeah.
I saw tweets where people were comparing it to the Star Wars Jawa, big old vehicle
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
goes across the desert. It did have certain similarities, which are like, funny.
Yeah.
So the non-practical was a Corvette.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've just always like, I think it's because when I was a kid, some of my parents had a rental car, and we went on a vacation and we drove around in that. And I just remember it being really cool. So I think it's just like nostalgia, like from childhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the poor man's supercar.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat the price and the
Yeah.
performance that you get from them. So those are two good picks. Although the Tesla is probably just as fast. So
True.
I was wondering if they were similar, right? That they probably could compete with one another.
yeah.
But yeah, one zero gas, one gas guzzler, right? The Corvette's probably going to drink
Right.
it in
Yeah.
stride.
The world will end when Chevy comes out with an electric Corvette. Just like
Now
Ford
that
in the
Ford's
90s.
already the Mustang, yeah.
Yeah.
That will be a sad day.
So you haven't done a ton of traveling, although you've traveled quite a bit because you're, spoken a lot at a lot of different
Yeah.
events and stuff. But you had mentioned that going to, I'm going to see if I can call this correctly, the sloth/monkey sanctuary in Honduras.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
visited when you were on a cruise. So what was interesting about that?
Well, because up until then, this was in January of this year, and I went on a cruise, and I haven't been out of the country until then. It was the first time. So it's just interesting seeing. We went to Belize and Honduras and Cozumel on the cruise, and just getting to see, all the different culture there. And then yeah, the sloth, getting to hold the sloth and a monkey, of course, was like the highlight of the trip for me because I love sloths.
Yeah, I feel like sloths are like the perfect animal. Like they could do no
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
They are just they're just so
The spirit
sweet.
animal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You travel in the US because you travel around for SharePoint events or whatever. What is your favorite place in the US to go to besides San Diego that you would live there? What was the coolest place in the US you traveled for work?
I don't know, I mean, I liked San Diego, obviously. I was in Boston for SB TechCon. That was a pretty cool city, lots of history there. Of course, these things you never get to spend so much time there. Like, so I want to go back where I actually get to walk around and explore more. And here, even like close to me, I like Austin a lot. It's just like, so much, I'm a music buff, so just so much good live music there. So it's kind of hard to beat Austin and Nashville for that matter. Yeah.
Sixth Street's really cool.
Yeah.
Austin's just like its own world inside of Texas.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it was not.
It's totally different. Like I don't know if I any other city in Texas I wouldn't live, but I would live in Austin because it's just it's different.
We were there for 7 years and it was not easy to leave. It was just cool, laid back, athletic, good food, affordable, like you said. So Austin's a cool town. It's getting crowded though. We've been gone now 3.5 years and I saw more foreign state license plates. And Austin is not built for that. Their infrastructure is just not planned out as well as like a big city.
It's pretty crowded. One of our good friends lives there, so I was just down there not too long ago, and it's huge now.
Yeah, and not so affordable. I mean, compared to Los Angeles, for sure.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's I wouldn't say it's not affordable anymore.
yeah, it's an expensive place to live now, but.
So starting your day, you had mentioned that sleeping in and waking up to a big cup of coffee. So I'm assuming you're a big coffee fan.
Oh yeah, I love coffee. I think I stole my mom's coffee when I was like 8, and I've been like hooked on it ever since. Drink it all day, So I'm sleeping in too because I'm not a morning person at all. So if I have the chance to sleep in, I'm gonna take it and then wake up with my huge cup of coffee. Yep.
And the benefit of having your own business is you can schedule your days at noon.
Exactly. Yep.
Now you've also done a lot with music. I think you mentioned that you play a little of the piano. We had asked you like what your favorite artist is, and you had left that blank because you said that was the hardest. But maybe what are some of your top artists that you would, if you could have the chance to see them again, or if they're still living, would never pass up if they come around?
Well, I like a big variety of music, so that's why it was so hard to pick one. Everything from, obviously, I like rock and roll a lot. That's the band that I'm in, we do rock covers. So, Led Zeppelin obviously is one. If they ever got back together, the remaining members I would die to see. Aerosmith is probably my all-time favorite. I even got an Aerosmith tattoo that one of these days I want Steven Tyler to sign and get added onto my tattoo. I've seen them a lot. AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, all that kind of classic rock stuff. And then like Southern rock and some more like kind of indie bands like Blackberry Smoke and things like that. Just a big variety. And then some classic country and a little bit of pop. So.
Kind of hard to not be able to escape country in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, but I don't like the news. Only the classic stuff like Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings and the classic outlaw country as you call it. It's really mainly what I like.
So if you like Led Zeppelin, do you like Greta Van Fleet?
I don't know. I'm undecided, about them. I think I do. I would like to see them live. They haven't been around here just to judge. That's how kind of I judge bands, is like how they're any good live. So
yeah.
I just think it's funny that they say that they're not really bigly inspired by.
But they sound exactly like.
And they sound exactly like it. Like they claim that they're inspired by Aerosmith. I'm like, you sound like you're blatantly trying to copy Robert Plant. So I don't know. I could go on a rant about that, but
they're close though. They're close.
Yes.
And you said you play a little piano. Do you have like a favorite if you could choose any of the instruments and just listen to instrumental, is there a favorite? Is piano it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I like piano, but I also like just acoustic, like classical guitar too. If I'm just trying to focus and work, it's just, I like that a lot too.
Do you listen when you're doing, because we talked about this with Vesa, where I know for me, when I'm really in the zone trying to code, I find lyrics distracting. So I'll put on a lot of movie scores, like for example, A League of Their Own is in that mix. One of the scores from there. Do you ever is that something you do as well? You'll put on just non-lyrical based music to help focus?
Sometimes. I guess I don't have that problem as much. Like I can listen to regular music and it doesn't distract me, but once in a great while, if I'm just really in the zone, yeah, I'll switch to classical music or something like that to focus. Yeah.
So April, one of the things we started recently with Vesa at Ignite was rapid fire and fill in the blank. So we thought it might be fun to start doing that with our guests as well. So with rapid fire, we're going to say one thing or the other, and you just say what you prefer and comes to mind. So you ready?
All right.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Wine or beer?
Oh, that's hard. I guess I'll go with beer.
Okay. Treadmill or couch?
I have to be honest, couch.
Texting or talking?
Oh, texting for sure.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Summer or winter?
Oh, winter, I guess.
Okay. Ask for permission or beg for forgiveness?
Beg for forgiveness.
More time or more money?
More time. Can't get back time. Nope.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll do some fill in the blank. I think one of these I probably could guess, but we'll ask it. If only one artist on your playlist?
I mean, Led Zeppelin, probably.
Okay, based on what we just talked about.
Yeah.
The best ice cream flavor is?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Okay. The first topping in a pizza should be?
Well, cheese is, all you really need on a really good pizza.
Okay. And if you could have one superpower, it would be?
What is it when you can control people's minds? I always forget the word. Not telekinesis. That's when you move objects.
Right.
Well, I guess mind control. I guess there's not an official word. Mind control.
Mind control.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
so you hesitate. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be really awkward the first time someone says that they prefer talking over texting.
It really these days does. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't do it. I like texting.
So you ended up, like Vesa, as we found out, worked at a casino. Was it more in the IT, or were you like out on the floor? Like he was out on the floor. Were you behind the scenes, or?
Yeah, this was IT. So in college, I had an internship at Cherokee Casino here, which became Hard Rock Casino. And I got to kind of go around to each of the different IT departments and just see, because I wasn't sure exactly what in IT I wanted to do. So I spent 1 week in like help desk, and then another week in, IT security, and then one in the dev department, and just kind of rotated. But the coolest thing I got to do was program the slot machines in there. So kind of got to see how that all works. That was pretty cool. But of course, I couldn't gamble there since I was programming them.
And you also knew that the house always wins. So.
Well, yeah, yeah. There's that.
You had to put in some Easter egg though, right? Like oceans.
Algorithm. It's just like if it's pull 1,025,000, win $1. Otherwise, waste money. Like that's the whole algorithm of any slot machine.
Yep.
That's fascinating though. Like, what do you? I mean, you might know, but like the algorithm of a slot machine, like, is it as complex or is it just as simple as I would expect it to be?
What you described is, I mean, it's as simple as what you would expect.
Yeah.
I was thinking it to be like really like, oh man, I have to do this. This is going to be hard. It's like, nope. It's just like we got this certain like rate at which it should pay out and how much, and like that's about it.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's why you always play blackjack. Anyone who's listening, always play blackjack.
Yeah. I like blackjack. Yeah, that's my game of choice if I'm going to gamble. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get started in SharePoint?
actually that internship. So I hadn't even heard of SharePoint until then. Thought I just kind of wanted to do some dev stuff. And when I got to the dev department, they were rolling out SharePoint 2007 and they needed all this help with it. And that's what I kind of got stuck doing. Gave me this book. I think it was like Andrew Connell's book on SharePoint. And like, here, read this. And we need you to figure out how to do this, workflow and or whatever in this and set up. And so kind of realized it was a pretty cool tool. I wasn't half bad at it. So yeah, that's once you have that on your resume, right? Every business designates you as a SharePoint person. So it just kind of went
Yeah,
from there.
I get so many gigs for having SharePoint 2007 on my resume.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. No, yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's like during the time that SharePoint was like becoming a thing. Like it was
Yeah.
slowly becoming a development. Well, it wasn't really yet until 2010, but 2007 when people started really pushing the limits of what SharePoint could do.
Yep.
And then obviously you're a very well-known personality in the community. So how did you segue from inheriting SharePoint, working with it, enjoying it, and then moving into kind of community speaker and community contributor?
Well, that took me a little while, especially the speaking, because I just have crippling like stage fright anxiety. So I just never, it took a lot of pushing from coworkers. So one of the people that I worked with at my job at a telecom company, I was doing SharePoint dev there, and he was really active in the local SharePoint user group, and he got me to start going with them, and went, and he just said, I did a lot of internal training, at the company that I worked with, like just helping people with SharePoint stuff and the training. And he said, you're pretty good at it. Have you thought about like speaking at our user group on something? I'm like, no. It's one thing to speak in front of like coworkers. It's another to like go up and do some presentation. But they finally nagged me enough where I tried it and realized it's not really that bad, and everyone's pretty nice and it's pretty fun, and kind of, started out slowly just speaking at local things like that, local tech fest, and eventually branched out. And I think it was Mark Rackley's SharePoint Alusa back then was the first kind of bigger outside of where I live thing that I spoke at, and just kind of went from there. Yeah, it just took a lot of pushing.
Yeah, so now you're like super heavy into the platform, Power Apps flow. Were you an InfoPath before and made that
Yep.
transition? Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of InfoPath where I worked, a lot of InfoPath SharePoint Designer for the form stuff, along with, some custom dev in SharePoint. So definitely, as soon as Power Apps and Power Automate now came out, I latched onto those, so I didn't have to do InfoPath and SharePoint Designer anymore.
Yeah, so a lot of people well, I think a lot of people struggle with Power Apps. It's such a big change from in InfoPath. Do you have any advice besides following your blog of how to become better at Power Apps?
I mean, I think you have to stop trying to think of making. A lot of people say that Power Apps is the replacement for InfoPath, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes, because it's not a true replacement. It's a successor, right? It's a completely different way of thinking about doing forms than InfoPath was. So
Right.
I think if you just get that notion out of your brain and just try to look at it from a fresh perspective of this is a whole new way of thinking about things. I mean, this is building a mobile application, not just, an XML, desktop application like InfoPath was. And so, just use, I mean, yes, it's more formula based, not as much point and click if you're used to InfoPath, but if you just think of it from, different perspective, I think you'll be much happier. And then of course the community, there's so many people to follow and so many resources out there to help you get started.
Sure.
And so as far as those resources and getting started, maybe for those that are wanting to get started doing more in the community, speaking specifically, what are some of the things that you would provide as advice?
Well, if you want to get started speaking, I mean, first, don't be afraid to try, right? I mean, don't let, imposter syndrome or anything like that, thinking, well, I don't know enough, or, maybe someone will ask me. My big thing was, someone might ask me a question and I won't know, and they'll think I'm, stupid. That was getting in my own head when I was first starting out. So don't let that get in your head, because that's never happened to me. No one's ever asked me a question, and if most of the time you know the answer, or if you don't, you can say, I can research that for you, and people understand that and they're cool about it. So just don't let that get in your head and just try. I mean, you might maybe speaking isn't for you, but you won't know until you try, right? So just get out there and give it a try.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Like, not everyone is a natural born speaker. I'm not a natural born speaker. I don't love speaking, but there's so many other ways to contribute, whether it's
Yeah,
doing blogs or participating on the forums. So there's plenty of ways to get involved that don't involve you standing up in front of people and sharing information. So
exactly. Like blogs and helping on the forums is just as helpful as going and doing a presentation. So, yeah.
yeah, I mean, if not more. I mean, think about
Yeah,
you do a presentation or a talk and you do it in front of 25 people. That's way different than helping someone on a forum post that gets seen by thousands of people,
thousands.
right?
Yeah,
So we
exactly.
can all contribute in different ways and
Yep.
just do the method that works best for you and your time and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we have such a inclusive, helpful community, right? Someone today was just talking about how unique, and they even said compared to some other communities that I've been part of, this is just so amazing, and it really is unique. And we talk about that a lot, but it's important to note, I think, because it is so unique.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know, Hugo said this best, but from the perspective of people who do actively help out, it's like we love your questions because we love to answer them, and if we don't know something, we love figuring out what the answer was, right? So we find enjoyment either way. So don't be afraid to ask questions because we're all willing to help.
So you own your own business, right?
Yeah.
You been doing that for how long now?
I think about eight years now. Yeah.
And has it been
So it's
SharePoint the whole time?
yeah.
Yeah, it started off really SharePoint heavy, obviously like SharePoint on-prem, right? Because this was like before the cloud even took off. But once Office 365 came around, we started doing a lot more, around the whole 365 stack, so Teams and all that. So everything from custom dev, and now obviously the Power Platform is a big part of what we do too.
And is it just you, or do you work with people?
It's me and my husband. We kind of co-own it, so it's us full time, and then we have some, people we use on a contract basis to pull in for different projects.
Awesome.
But that is going to change a little bit for you coming up soon, right?
Yes. So later this month, actually, I have accepted a job from Microsoft to join their One Commercial Partner team to be a partner technical architect. So pretty
That's
pretty
awesome.
excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. So that's the Bob German works on that team.
Yep, I'll be working closely with Bob. Yep.
Yep. Awesome. That's cool.
Now you
So
don't have to move.
that might increase some of your travel though, right?
Yeah, so I won't have to move. It is, a remote position, but I will obviously have to travel for, different partner sites and stuff to help out with that. But, I do some travel now as it is, for partners. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great opportunity to help, because my business is a Microsoft partner ourselves. So being able to look at it from the other side and help other partners is really exciting to me.
So is your husband still going to work with your business and continue that
Yep,
out?
yep. He'll keep going. Actually, he's more of just a straight, developer. Is what his focus is, and he comes from a SharePoint background too. But he hasn't, dug into the Power Platform as much. So he's, actually taking Shane's Power Apps course to kind of,
Awesome.
get up to speed on the Power Apps stuff, so he can start taking some of that over. Yep.
Cool. And you'll still be able to contribute and be active in the community. I know Bob is still, as a Microsoft employee, so I think that's exciting too, that you don't really have to give it up necessarily.
Definitely. That was a big deal for me. I wanted to still be able to, do my blog and contribute, to the GitHub repo and all that stuff, and everything I'm doing in the community now, and I'll still be able to do that with this role. So I'm really happy about that.
That's awesome. Well, again, congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very cool.
I just love your list of people who encourage you to be involved and people who have influenced you it's the same list of people who influenced me 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's really cool to I don't know. We all have similar experiences in SharePoint where there's a lot of people who are still in the community now who have just affected so many of us, younger folks coming into SharePoint.
Yeah, it's just like that's what the fun thing was when when you start speaking at these events, and you get your MVP, you get to meet all these people that like taught you SharePoint, like meeting Ted and Laura and Shane, all these people the first time. It's just like trippy because like I have your book, here in my office, and you kind of taught me what I know. It's just like a full circle kind of cool thing for sure, experience.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of surreal, right?
Yeah.
One of the questions we always ask, well, although we didn't ask Vesa this, but what we normally ask is, what's the best icebreaker if someone was to come up and find you at a conference or see you at one of your events?
Well, obviously anything about Power Apps or Power Automate, any questions there, or like personally, anything about music in general, like, hey, did you heard like the latest, whatever, Greta Van Fleet song or something like that, or, anything like that would be a good icebreaker.
So, do you have anything coming up? Any events you're speaking at, or where can people find you?
Events, yeah. So the next one is SharePoint Saturday, Charlotte. I think that's next Saturday. Yeah, I believe the Saturday after next. And in February, actually, I have SB TechCon. We're gonna have a few sessions at that. And then, the North American Collaboration Summit. And in March, I'm doing a Power Apps and Power Automate workshop there. So that's all I have right now planned. And you can find me. I'm really active on Twitter at April Dunnam. So if you have any questions, want to follow me on there. I also have a YouTube channel that I'm building up. I have quite a few videos on now for SharePoint, Power Apps, and Power Automate type videos there, how to. You can just search for April Dunnam on there. You can find me on YouTube. And
we'll have all the links for those in the blog post too. So.
Yep, and I have my blog, SharePointSiren.com. So those are the best ways to reach me.
Well, thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with us and giving the community a little better opportunity to get to know you personally. Bo and I are pretty passionate about the value that it brings, and we know you are too. So we really appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I watch this myself, so it's cool to be on it, be the one being interviewed.
All right. Well, good luck at Microsoft.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. That's exciting.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, everybody.